Thank you. The last time I was on the MOTH stage, I was introduced as Dennis, Oklahoma. True story. When I saw the theme for tonight and I looked at the calendar, it brought me right back to Thanksgivings when I was growing up. I guess you could say you had me at leftovers. There were 7 children in my family, and we all depended on each other. There was a fair amount of, what the hell is the word? Shit in my family, I don't know. There was plenty of drama in my house. And your brothers and sisters were your first line of defense. In fact, in most situations, they were your only line of defense. And as my older siblings graduated from college and graduated from high school and went off to college and left home, those of us who were still at home started counting the days until Thanksgiving. Because Thanksgiving was the day when they'd be back, and we'd all be together, a united front. In 1967, my brother was living in Mexico City, and he was studying at the University of the Americas. And we were living in Connecticut at that time. And we didn't think he was going to be able to get home because we knew he didn't have any money, but one Sunday night, he called us long distance. Anybody here remember long distance? And he said, I'll be there. I'll be home for Thanksgiving. And then my sisters made arrangements to come back from their colleges in upstate New York as well. As it turned out, my brother's trip from Mexico City was quite the adventure. He drove with a friend of his from school, had a beat-up Volkswagen. And the beat-up Volkswagen had an alternator that didn't work, so the battery was not charged as they were driving. If you turned the car off, you couldn't start it again. And they had no jumper cables. College kids, right? So what they did is they drove straight through. One driving, one sleeping in the passenger seat. They only stopped for gas and to switch drivers. They never shut the car off for 5 days. One morning, my brother woke up and he saw that they were on the Jersey Turnpike. He's thinking, we're almost home, this is great. And then he realized that he was in the driver's seat. And he said, holy shit! And he looked down, and there was a hand on the steering wheel. It was his friend from the passenger seat, and he was steering the car. And my brother said, how long have I been asleep? The guy said, a couple of minutes here. College kids. Meanwhile, back in Connecticut, we're all waiting for him to come. The weekend before Thanksgiving doesn't show up. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of Thanksgiving week, he doesn't show up. And we're pretty much convinced he's not going to make it for Thanksgiving dinner. Thanksgiving morning, I wake up early, go into the living room, and there he is on the couch, covered head to toe in blankets. And I reached over to shake his shoulder and say, welcome home. And I was transported into a scene from the movie Alien. A little furry black and brown head with little tiny sharp teeth lunged out of the blankets and bit the shit out of my hand. That was Macho, a street dog my brother had brought back from Mexico with him. And Macho didn't like anybody touching my brother. There was a fair amount of blood and a fair amount of pain, but it didn't matter because my brother had gotten home for Thanksgiving. Turned out that was the last Thanksgiving we all spent together. People started getting married and moving to other cities. And after that point, the only times we ever got together as a whole family were for funerals. I have my own family now, and we all gather at our house for Thanksgiving. And they all show up. And to be fair, none of them have to come from Mexico City. They come from Jackson Park and Bayview. And they all have jumper cables. I made sure of that a couple of Christmases ago because you never know when you're going to need them. And on Thanksgiving Day, we watched the Macy's parade, and we smell that symphony of smells that come out of the kitchen like on no other day. And then we eat, and then we might watch a little football or planes, trains, and automobiles, and then we eat some more. And throughout the day and into the evening, we tell stories about Thanksgiving past, like the story I'm telling you right now. A group of people who gets together to tell stories. What a concept. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, everyone.